Number 1 on our Cache Valley Media Group's list of the top 25 Aggie football players for this year. Ironically enough, he wears number 1. And further irony, he transfers from Arkansas State to Logan, Utah to be our quarterback of renown last year in Logan Bonner. He started every game last year, even though early in the year was rotating at times, and did not finish the bowl game, but he was the Mountain West Championship game most valuable player for the performance against San Diego State in the win. He actually tied for the 4th most touchdown passes in a single season in Mountain West history and set the championship game record for 4 touchdown passes and 4 touchdowns responsible for. He set 5 Aggie season records, and it's all set up the same. He didn't go spring football last year with a broken foot, had a great year. Didn't go this year in spring football with the injury and the knee surgery, but he's worked out longer in the summer season with the new receivers. He feels great about this year coming up, and he is our leader. Number 1 on our list and number 1 in the program, Logan Bonner.
There was a unanimous selection here among all of us who voted as the undisputed number 1, Logan Bonner, on our list of top 25 Aggies for the upcoming season. And as Al Lewis just went through all the accolades, all the accomplishments from a year ago, and he's coming back with the same head coach, with the same offensive coordinator, with the same quarterback coach, basically, with a lot of guys on the offensive line coming back as well, and great targets to throw to. I'm excited for this season as Logan Bonner is the number 1 playmaker and most important individual player on this Utah State football team going into this season.
Yeah, it was hard to go with anybody else. Obviously, nobody did among our voters. When you look at that position, that performance, there's really no question. I mean, as Al listed, 5, single season records, yards and touchdowns among them. Just absolutely great season for him. Obviously his best to date. Finally gets a chance to be a full-time starter without splitting stats, and actually splitting snaps and being able to play mostly a full season. He's really managed to break out and be a really good quarterback. So obviously he's the best player. He's the offensive leader. Everything, or at least a lot, will rest on him being able to repeat or come close to repeating his performance from last year. This is a guy that doesn't get rattled.
Like, he got knocked around. He could have been intimidated, could have backed down, and didn't. He kept getting back up off the turf. And because of that, I think that just his teammates fed off of that. Here's a guy who would get pushed around, get thrown to the ground, come off, but he wouldn't stay down. He was always trying to get himself back into the game, even when coaches were probably and trainers saying, no, you need to sit. This is a guy who would have still put himself out there because he believes in himself and he believes in his team. And you can just feel that, how the team feeds off of that when he's on the sidelines, when he's on the field. And that's one of the great aspects of Logan Bonner that has nothing to do with his arm strength, nothing to do with how he can check down on various reads. He's got that attitude that really fuels that offense for Utah State.
Yeah, it does. It's the lead from the front mentality that is just, it's an enormous quality for some leaders. You look at leaders in antiquity and modern times, when they're able to lead from the front or have that kind of mentality, it does rub off onto everyone. They're willing to run through a brick wall. When Logan Bonner seems like he's being hit by a brick wall, everyone else is willing to run through one. And so, again, it does go beyond just him throwing the ball, because he's not like this all-time gifted passer. If you look at guys like Chucky Keaton or Jordan Love, they're in some cases miles ahead of him if you just look at pure passing ability or athleticism or physical tools. But Logan Bonner is a leader. He's a tough son of a gun, and he is obviously good enough as a passer, a good quarterback. And so you combine all that together, and you have a guy who is able to put together basically the best passing season in Utah State history and one of the best seasons in general, being the leader and the quarterback.
Right. I thought that, after 2018, we were going to have conversations about Jordan Love, the best quarterback in Utah State history. There's been some really good ones, but Jordan Love was in the conversation. And now we have to put Logan Bonner in the conversation.
Yeah.
This newcomer from Arkansas State who comes in and sets school records, ties a bunch of others, tied several records in Mountain West, and set a record for touchdowns thrown in a conference championship game. So this is a guy that just comes in, even though he routinely gets hurt, he keeps getting back up. When I talked to him earlier, earlier during fall camp, he talked about how he broke his hand one season, missed a lot of time with a broken hand. Then he comes to Utah State and he's got a broken foot. Then this last season he had to have knee surgery. This is a guy that has a pretty long list of ailments that he's gone through. He just comes back. He just keeps going to work, rehabbing, getting back out on the field, studying film, and developing that rapport with his teammates.
Yeah, it's like I said, he's a tough son of a gun. And, if he has another really good season this year, he will have to go, into the history books as one of the best, if not the best. It depends on what he accomplishes this year. If he manages to win another Mountain West title, you may just have to hand him the title of best quarterback. Even though he's not going to really touch any of the career records in terms of yards and touchdowns and attempts and whatnot, those are largely going to stay with Jordan Love, and I believe Calvillo still holds the career record or yards record. Love didn't quite break that. So Bonner, only having 2 seasons here isn't going to put him close. It'll probably put him in the top 5 or 6, if he throws for like 7,000 plus yards. But obviously, if you have 2 really great seasons and 2 really great team seasons where you're being as the quarterback, then obviously you have to get tons of credit and potentially the title of best quarterback in Utah State history, which, as you said, there have been some good ones that have come through here, and it'd be quite the list to be on top of.
Yeah, this last year it took 3 quarterbacks to win 11 games. Hopefully it doesn't take that this year, but Logan Bonner is the leader in that quarterback room, and those other quarterbacks can learn a lot from him. And having that leadership and skill level means a lot for this Utah State offense. No question why he was a unanimous selection as our number 1 Utah State Aggie coming into this upcoming season.
Yeah, and hopefully Cooper Legas, looks like he might be sticking around. Hopefully become like the heir apparent. Hopefully he's learning that toughness and that leadership, because Legas has some great physical tools. He's got to work on some other things, but that's what development's for. But if he's able to learn those qualities that Bonner has that we've not seen too much out of other quarterbacks, if he's able to learn those things, then he can carry the torch, and who knows, maybe he'll be even better. But that's a tough thing to do, to try and be better than Bonner was last season.
So Logan Bonner, number 1 on his jersey, number 1 on our list, as concludes our top 25 Aggies of 2022.